ready to put the pocket on the inside part of the wallet, and we're going to position it so that the top of the zipper is right at the line that's marked just down from the bottom, and the bottom here should be pretty much even with the bottom of the pocket, or of the piece here. So this piece goes here, this piece goes here, and what we're going to want to do is stitch from here to here on each side. So this is where we cut our little notches out. And we're going to, I think I'm going to put some pins in there on each of those. And we're going to want to stitch all the way through the zipper. So you're going to want to make sure that your zipper is pulled a little bit to the inside so that you don't hit that. This is why we're happy to have a zipper a little longer than we need, because we're going to be able to cut off the zipper stop on either end. Stretch this out. Sometimes things pull a little bit, so we want to get it good and flat. Stretch that out and pin that one in place over there, and that in place right there. It looks a little bit crooked. I think my pocket's just a little crooked, so I'm going to stretch that up there. Okay, now we're going to stitch from here down and across this line right here and back up to here. And then we're going to come, and there's right below the line that's even with our notches, there's another line marked 1/4 inch below that. We're going to stitch all the way across that line from one side to the other. Okay, so we're going to take the outside part of our wallet and lay it down with the top at the front, or at the top, and then we're going to take the inside of our wallet with the top at the top, and we're going to align that on there. And our wallet should be a little bit shorter, 1/4 to 1/2 inch shorter the inside than the outside, and that looks good. So we're going to put this in place, and I'm just going to stick a couple wonder clips to hold it on the sides. Before I sew this together, we're going to round the tops. If you have one of the older versions of the pattern, it probably doesn't tell you that. It told you to just pivot at the corners, but I think rounding the corners gives a nicer look, and it makes it a lot easier to turn it. The way I like to trim my corners is by using a standard spool of thread and positioning it in the corner, and you can either mark around it, or I usually just go and cut. I love using a little 28mm rotary cutter for doing this. So I'm going to put the spool of thread there so that it matches it on two sides, and then I'm just going to gently cut through the layers. And I found that with this, basically what I do is I just go up and down along the side, and that rounds that edge nicely. And then I do the same thing over on this edge. Just kind of rocking it back and forth basically is what I'm doing. And I can now stitch these together. Now the trick when you're stitching these is that you want to sew together all the way around this with the 1/4 inch seam, but you don't want to sew across the bottom, because that's where we're going to turn it. But you don't want to catch this part of the pocket in that seam. So what I usually do is fold that back a little bit like this, and then I have to be really careful to pull this back out so that I catch this in there. And I'm going to bring this back down here. These are where your wonder clips are so fantastic, because they work so well for putting these layers together. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm just going to fold that back a little bit, get that right up next to it nice and tight. Stretch this down nice and tight. And I'm going to stitch all the way around there. Now, you can see the line of stitching where we sewed our pocket. We want to start there and just stitch all along here, all the way around, and stitch all the way down to the bottom. As soon as we've got that done, we're going to turn it right side out, and we're pretty much finished. Okay, I've stitched all the way around. After I stitched it the first time, I went back and refined my stitching a little bit, because sometimes when you've got all those wonder clips and things in the way, your lines can get a little bit wonky. So I just kind of straightened out my stitching. I'm going to do a little bit of trimming on these corners, just so I don't have so much bulk when I go to turn that right side out. And now I'm ready to turn it to the right side out. So I'm going to reach my hand in between the opening, and I usually just grab down here at the bottom, and then I start pulling it towards the top. It's got a lot of body in it because we used the soft and stable in there, so it's there's a lot to pull right side out. This is where it's helpful to have a turning tool. This is my favorite. I love this little wood one because the tip is good for turning but not so sharp that you end up poking holes in things. And I just use that to kind of push that all the way around my seams actually. And then when I get down to the bottom, it looks kind of messy. We've got this open seam here, but this is our bottom pocket, and we just turn this right side out as well, and then our lining gets stuffed down in between there. Pretty much ready to go. Now, you want to take this to the ironing board and really give it a good steaming, because a good steaming is going to help all these pieces lay flat the way you want them. But basically your wallet is ready to go. You've got your credit card pockets, your zippered pocket for your coins. This opens up, you've got more pockets, your pocket underneath, your pen holder. This folds up, this comes down. Okay, we're going to put the zipper pull in our zipper, which makes it really easy to pull. I prefer using handbag zippers for most of my projects because they have an extra big pull on it. But for a little wallet like this, it's kind of overkill to use that big zipper. So I just used a regular zipper, but it has such a tiny hole here that you can only pull one side of your fabric through. So I cut it to a point, and then I pull it into that hole and pull it, which kind of compresses it. I bring my ends together. I hold it tight right next to my zipper. I hold these sides tight too. Bring that around through the inside there, both pieces. And I pull up on that and tight down there. If you want, you could tie another loop there, but I think that's sufficient. And then I just clip these ends off so that they're even with each other. And that gives me a nice, easy to pull zipper pull. If you want to attach your strap, I'll show you how that works. I would wait until you've got it nicely pressed though before you attach your strap. When you're ready to do your strap, you're going to take one end and face down. There's a double strap here. I put it through the bottom part of this little tab. From the right to the left, I come down, and down inside the pocket we've put our little hook and eye. So I hook that on there. Then I bring the strap all the way around so that my right side is down again. And this time I go through the top part of that little tab. So one's through the bottom, one's through the top. Top part on this side. And then attach that to your hook and eyes down at the bottom. Then you can carry this as a shoulder strap, or you can pull up on this one and have both of them for a shorter strap. And your beautiful wallet is finished.